Hello class. This PowerPoint is going to be about quotation marks. First of all, what I want you to know is, before we start, if you want to watch this PowerPoint, or read this PowerPoint on your own, be sure to use Firefox. And then you can toggle over here on the comments and read the comments that I've made. However, if you want to, do both. Maybe read the comments and then watch this video. That way you'll have double exposure, and some of you may read better and others you may just want to listen to me speak as I go through it. So the first thing I want to talk about are what are quotation marks. In this presentation we're going to talk about question marks as direct quotes, which you've been doing in your papers. So it's when you put direct quotes around what someone said. For instance, here Helen asked, and then quote exact words. Then down here, we do not use them if it's not a direct quote. This is a direct quote here. This is exactly what Helen said. Here is an indirect quote. It's not word for word what she said. You're just saying, Helen asked to borrow my car. Do you see how this was? Can I borrow your car? That is a direct quote. That is word for word what she said. Then we come here into indirect quote. It is not word for word. Therefore, you do not need to use the quotation marks. Then we're going to talk about quotation marks used as for around newspaper articles, chapters, and books. For example, in our anthology, our patterns book, we've been reading articles from that. So when you use the articles in your essays, you've been putting quotes around the name of the article. You have not been italicizing those. Now, if it were a book, like our patterns book, then you would italicize the title of that. So here are a few more if you're going to put quotes around a chapter of a book, a short story, an essay, a song, or a poem. So we'll put quotations around those. Like I've previously said, titles of longer works such as our patterns book, you'll underline, but that's only if you're doing a handwriting. But all of your stuff is typed, so you will italicize it. So if you refer to the patterns book inside the in-text, you will italicize. If you use the patterns book in the works cited, when you list the patterns book, you will italicize there as well. Next, singles quotes in a double quote. It's called a quote within a quote. Let's take a look. It'll look kind of funny or odd to you, but if we take a look here at my example, number 2, I'm going to skip this part. For example, Kevin said, "My doctor is nice, but he also told me to lose some weight." So if you take a look here, we have a quote in the beginning because this is what I said, and then we have a quote at the end. But look, we have 3 quotations. That looks strange to me. However, if you look at it, but he also told me, the doctor told me this directly, to lose some weight. So the doctor said this to me directly, to lose some weight. So I put single quote around what the doctor said to me, and then we put the double quotes around what I'm actually saying to you. I hope that makes sense. So my doctor is nice, but he also told me. Now remember, we have it in quotes because you're quoting me, but then the doctor also said something directly. And how are we going to distinguish what the doctor said from what I said? We'll put single quotes around it. It does look strange again to have 3 quotes here, but if you look quickly, what did the doctor say to Kevin? To lose some weight. But what is Kevin saying to you? All of this. So we have to have quotations here, and then the single quotes on what the doctor directly said to Kevin and what Kevin is relaying to you. So let's take a look. You can read these over more if you want. Let's go down here and take a look here. So number 1, you're going to choose the sentence that has no errors in the use of quotation marks. So go ahead and look at A, B, C, and D before you move on to the next slide where I'll explain what the answer should be. Okay, I'm sorry about this. I don't think this slide fits very well here, but since it's here, let's talk about it. I chose B as the correct answer here. First of all, my sister told me that. That should be here. Correct? Yes. And then here, so this one's wrong. And then let's take a look at letter C. My sister told me that I, must see this movie. I don't know if that's correct either. It seems strange that I is not put inside. And then here, my sister told me that I must see this movie. I think this one is correct. So again, B is correct because it's an indirect quotation. Again, I apologize. I thought this slide was going to show you a single quote as though they were speaking to you directly through the speaker, like as in up here. The doctor said to lose some weight. I apologize, that's a little clunky, but I hope you were able to get B because it's an indirect quote. Your sister told you this, but not directly, so don't put quotes in it. This is called an indirect quote. Let's go to the next slide. Here, we're going to use single quotes around songs. So not only do we use single quotes around something someone said in a direct quote, we also can use them for songs and articles or essays if we're in a direct quote. Let's take a look here. For example, Kevin said, and what am I saying? I'm saying all of this. So we have quote here and quotes here. My favorite song is No More Drama by Mary J. Blige, which is my favorite. I love her. But here, quote, quote. Now, if we did not have the title No More Drama with inside this quote and this quote, then we would use double quote, double quote. But since this is already inside a double quote, we're only going to use a single quote here around the name of the song. Otherwise, if I were writing in my paper, I love that song No More Drama, then I would put that around double quotes. But since it's already inside double quotes, it's going to get sloppy. So instead of having double quotes, we make it single now. Let's move to the next slide. This is the slide from before, but we were correct. My sister told me that I must see this movie. I'm sorry, I don't know how these got out of order, but let's continue to the next slide. Okay, decide which one is correct, A, B, C, or D. Pause if you need to, and then go to the next slide, and we'll talk about the correct answer. A is correct because we have the quotes. It's exactly what the security guard said. We have the comma here, and then we go into what the security guard had said. B looks very close, but we need the comma here after allowed. And then down here, there are no quotes at all. So this one is incorrect. So A is the correct answer. This is what he said. We put a comma, and then we introduced the speaker, or in this case, the security guard. Let's go to the next slide. Now this time I would like you to choose between A, B, C, and D. And pay close attention that we're looking for what they said, but this time they put Alexander the Pope, the person who is speaking, in the middle. So therefore, we started the quote, then we say the person's name, and then we want to continue with the quote. So with that hint in mind, go ahead and choose the correct answer for this slide, and then proceed to the next. So C is correct. We started with what Alexander Pope said, a little learning, and then we put the comma here, wrote Alexander Pope, and then we put another comma because then we're going to start finish what he said before, is a dangerous thing. So here, he directly said this. We wanted to put it in the middle, the person speaking, and then we finished here. And notice that we do have a comma before what he said, and then a comma before what he said, and finished with what he said. So C is correct. So let's take a look. The correct answer is A. We're going to choose A because no quotation marks are needed. This is an indirect quote. So Lola has been telling me for years that she wants to leave her job. There's nothing that she's stating directly, so therefore this is an indirect quote and no quotation marks are needed. Let's go to the next slide, number 5. Again, choose the answer and then proceed to the next slide when you have decided. Okay, C is correct, and this reminds me of the example I used in the beginning when I was talking about Kevin said, and then I quoted what the doctor had said to me directly as I was quoting it directly to you. So if we take a look here, what do you mean by minor procedure? The single quote and the single quote here lets you know that the patient is actually asking the doctor this directly. So what do you mean by minor procedure, doctor? Asked the patient. So again, single lets you know that this was quoted with inside what the patient is actually saying now. If you look at A, they have minor procedure, but see how they have the double quote, and then they also have double quote. It gets awkward here. So we know that this double quote and this double quote is for what the patient actually said, And then this double quote and double quote should not be here because this is what the patient said to the doctor directly. So this should be single quote, single quote. And then down here, they just switched it. They have the single quotes on the outside. The single quotes never go on the outside of the direct quote. They go inside something that was quoted directly within that direct quote by, in this instance, the patient. Let's go to the next one. Okay, take a look at A, B, C, and D, and then proceed to the next slide when you are ready. B is correct. The film Stand By Me, this is the name of the film, so it should be in italics, like books would be. And then here we have Stephen King, who is the author, and then we have a short story. And short stories are not italicized like books or movies. They are, again, put in quotes, the body. So we know that the name of Stephen King's short story was The Body. And this short story was the basis for the movie Stand By Me, which is in italics. If we take a look at A, there should be quotes around the body. If we take a look at C, there should be, excuse me here, double quote. We have a single quote here, but it should be double quote around articles, short stories, etc. So B is the correct answer. The thing I want you to remember here is double quotes around smaller works, such as poems, short stories, essays, and then larger works like movies and books should be italicized. Let's go to the next slide. Look at A through D, and then decide which one you think the answer is, and we'll move on. A is the correct answer because Piano Man is the name of the song. Normally, we'd have double quotes around the name of a song. However, since we're using it already within a direct quote, it would look very strange, or stranger, because we have three quotes now if we had quote, 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 quote. So, instead of putting double quotes around Piano Man, which is the name of the song, we actually just put single quotes here. Remember my no more drama was the same way in the example above. So direct quote, and then we're talking about a song, so we're just going to put single quotes around it instead because it's already in a direct quote. Now, if Piano Man were in a regular essay and you were just saying my favorite song is Piano Man, then you would use double quotes there because there are no other double quotes to conflict with it. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Choose the correct answer. Let's move on. Good. Here, Jonas says that he has read the Bible and the Quran. This is correct. Okay. B here is correct. Now, I thought this one was a little tricky, so I don't agree with all of it, but Jonas said that he has read the Bible and the Quran. Here, he's saying something indirectly. It is not word for word, so no quotes are needed. However, if you were confused with this one, I was a little too. Bible and Quran I would have italicized. They are both books. The Bible obviously is the Christian book, and then the Quran is the Islamic book. So I would have italicized both of these. Let's continue. Take a look at number 10. When you're ready, proceed. Good. C is the correct answer. Remember, it is okay to underline book titles, etc. However, if you're typing, I would just put this in italics. So, you do have the option of underlining or italics, but again, if you're typing, use italics. This example is just to let you know that you could use an underline, especially if you were writing an in-class essay. Can you italicize your hand? Probably not. You'll probably just underline the book title or any major work, large work. Okay, let's go to the next one. Actually, that was the last one. I hope this helps you. I just want you to remember that quoting, use direct quotes around something someone said. Don't use any quotes if it's indirect and you're not going to use word for word what they said. Mary J. Blige is my favorite singer. No more drama. If I were saying that if I were just writing that in an essay, no more drama, put double quotes around it because it's the name of a song. However, if I were quoting, Kevin said, blah, 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 then I would use single quotes around that because you don't want to have double quotes with double quotes. So I hope this helps. Review it if you need to. I'm sorry for the errors that were within some of the PowerPoint slides. Okay, good luck, everyone. Bye.